My new instrument library in collaboration with Dave Hillowitz, Memos, is available now. It was made by recording thousands of dollars of synthesizers and instruments to vintage microcassette systems. If you want to check it out to support the channel and make more videos like this possible, you can find it with the link down below. So here's the thing about horror. Good horror isn't loud. It's very, very quiet. It's something that makes you lean in with the promise that something terrible might be waiting for you there in the dark. So, in case you can't tell by the way I look right now, I've been having a bit of a rough go of it lately. This has not been my year. I was supposed to work on 7 different games, and by February, 5 of them got canceled. Within another couple months, I was let go from one of the other projects, and the last one, it remains to be seen if that's even a thing anymore. But that's not really what I want to talk about. Instead, there's another side of this whole industry I wanted to explore in this video, and one that still actually gives me a little bit of hope. This is the true story of how indie games get made, and why I got involved in one despite not getting paid at all during my time working on it. These aren't games made by huge corporations. These are ideas that people make just because they want to see them exist. This is the reality of zero-budget indie game development.
Supermassive has delayed Directive 8020 amid a round of layoffs. This decision was not taken lightly, and we know this.
It's not a secret that the games industry isn't exactly having a good time these days. I think we find ourselves in a pretty interesting moment in video game history right now, where going indie isn't just the goal, but it's starting to feel more and more like it's the only viable option. Corporate game environments are more volatile than ever. It seems like every single release, regardless of its success, just results in another round of layoffs to keep the numbers up for investors and shareholders. Going indie feels like the natural defense and a sort of survival mechanism against an unstable and completely ruthless corporate system that seems to do nothing but strip any idea of any charm or risk in the name of creating an easily malleable and repeatable formula. I don't think it would be controversial for me to say that the video game industry right now feels pretty clearly broken in an unfortunate and almost systematic way. But that is what's given rise to this new wave indie scene we seem to be experiencing of die-hard video game lovers who put so much of themselves into this whole process where the risk is the reward. Indie games are seeing a massive resurgence in recent years. Over 90% of games on Steam are indie titles. And as of the end of September 2024, indie games made up over 50% of all sales on Steam, and they're punching well above their weight class. In 2024, indie titles accounted for 48% of all revenue on Steam, which means that indie games are now earning as much or more on Steam as double or even AAA titles. But not every indie game goes on to sell millions of copies and rake in piles of money. Most of them don't make any money at all. So, in a world of Call of Duty 412 versus Helldivers and GTA 6, what does the other side of all of this actually look like? For the last couple months, I have been buried in my home studio working on some music and sound effects for a new indie game a friend of mine is making called Don't Look at Grandma. John, the developer, is based out of Columbus, Ohio. Territoires, my co-composer, is based out of Seattle, Washington. And me, of course, I'm all the way down in Nashville, Tennessee. John's been working on the game for the better part of this year, and for the last 3 months, Territoires and myself have been responsible for bringing in all things audio. Territoires has been handling a lot of the music and all the cool heavy metal bits, as well as some stinger sound effects and things like that. And then I've been responsible for a lot of the sound effects and all the rest of the music. So, over the course of the last 90 days, we've had to take this game from all but complete silence and turn that into, well, this. This project has been so much fun, and I'm really glad that John let Territoires and I jump in to be involved on it, because I've always wanted to work on a horror game, and now I get to work on a horror game with my friends. And on top of that, you just get such an incredible amount of creative freedom when working in indie titles. So with how kind of bleak the start of this year was, it's been such a weight off my shoulders to see that the grass was actually greener on the other side, even though it is a tremendous amount of work. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee for the Nashville Game Developer Meetup. It's an indie game meetup hosted every single week for indie developers to get together, share what they're working on, talk about ideas, help each other out. And I wanted to talk with a few of them to get some perspective on what it's really like to be an indie dev.
When you start working on a game 8 years ago, you're a different person then. Being an indie dev is fun. It's so fun, like 5% of the time. 95% of the time, you have to sit down at your computer and work. My name's Corey Martin. I'm making a game called Leapin' Lads. It's a endless arcade experience where you leap through infinite worlds, jumping either one space or two spaces at a time, and you're trying to go as far as possible. I wanted to make a good mobile game. Like a mobile game I actually wanted to play. You know what I like to play was Flappy Bird. That was actually a really good game. Well, I'm kind of just caught in it. Like making games is what I know how to do. It's the most important thing, not chasing trends and trying to make money, but trying to contribute something to society and point to deeper patterns and whatever way video games allow you to do that. Right now, I'm incredibly stressed out. Most of it isn't related to the game. And so it's hard to parse between, am I stressed about the game? Am I stressed about other life stuff? It's been a very crazy year. I can't believe I'm releasing the game now in the most crazy period of my life. But that's the reality of it. You know, sometimes things just converge and happen during hard periods, and you need to power through, and like the game needs to be done. It's really fun in the beginning when everything's new and everything you do has like huge impact on the whole game. Everything's novel, and you know, you just got married and you know you're in the honeymoon phase. That doesn't last a long time. You have to actually believe in your vision. It can't just be like, oh, I want to make a lot of money, because guess what? You're probably not going to make a lot of money. If you want to make a lot of money, go, you know, trade stocks all day. You're smart enough to do that if you can make a game, probably. I've been working on my game for 8 years, and I'm getting paid absolutely nothing right now. So I'm at the mercy of people, you know, if they play the game and find out about it. What, 8 years of energy? Like, that should actually result in something other than, you know, personal growth and skill building. Like, it has to be ideally it should be for something larger than that. They say releasing a game is very stressful. That's very true, especially when you've been working on it for 8 years. Don't work on a game like this for 8 years, because all this pressure just kind of builds up, and like it's just inevitable. It's like for the past 8 years, like, dude, I should have a PhD by now. It's a lot of pressure, and I'm just gonna release this game, and then what? Like, I become, they say you get like depressed after you release your game, like after 8 years. I can't even imagine. We'll see. Pray for me.
In my case, as a hobbyist game developer and maker of many other things, game development really is, for me, it's storytelling. It's being able to just like say the things that I want to say in a way that it's easy for me to say it, and I guess really kind of just like telling my story and the story of people like me. I guess the main reason why I even bother with making this stuff is because I have autism, so in a lot of cases I really struggle with communicating, really just generally like who I am to other people. It's, I guess, like through that sort of storytelling and making music and making art and all of that stuff, just generally producing something and putting it out into the world, that's just the best way for me personally to really kind of just connect with the world around me, despite my disability. My name is Allison, and I'm working on a sort of detective-esque game where you play as the main character after they have died, and you're going through the world trying to sort of recover their sense of self by way of things important to them. I've been actually just working on this game for the past month so far. Obviously, not really getting paid anything for it because, I mean, really I'm just doing it as a hobby. I'm a music business student full-time, so I don't have much time to make much stuff anyway. I think it's really cool that, at least with how the game industry is currently, that the technology exists that literally anyone can make a game, including, like me, literally a business student, just like picking up a computer and learning to program stuff. There's definitely barriers to being able to do it as a living. Again, largely because of the fact that literally anyone can make a game, and I mean, heck, a machine learning algorithm can make a game that is playable. For one thing, I mean, you have to do something that allows you to make a living, to, survive, get food, all that stuff. And in some cases, making a game and putting it out into the world might not do that for you. And that kind of turns into a sort of time management game where you're just kind of just trying to figure out like what you can get done when and exactly how much that's worth to you.
I stopped playing games around 2007 or 8 when I started making them. Just, I feel a little more like an outsider. I'm more familiar with indie, which I think the indie stuff is amazing. If you're getting into creating indie games, make things that you would love. Because odds are you're not like the most unique person in the world, and if you make something you love, they say there's like 16 personalities. So 1/16 of the world at least will love it. My name is IJ White, and I'm working on an NES Zelda-like called The Book of Booja. I've been working on this game for 4 years in November, and I've been getting paid zip. This is what I do. I'm an indie game developer. The fact that there's a whole community which I wasn't a part of 2 years ago. I grew up kind of a small farm town. I didn't really have friends doing weird stuff, making stuff. So the fact that there's so many of us, a lot of competition, the But just the fact there's like a worldwide community of indie game developers, I love it. I think it's great. There's been projects that I work on that just, I feel like I've got all these inspired ideas coming out, but when I hand it to somebody, hand them the controller, they play it for about 3 minutes and then they set the controller down. They hand it back to me. This game I'm working on now is really the first project I've ever worked on that someone has played for more than 30 minutes. And that's because I started making something that I would love. It's not about really, oh, this is my next stepping stone. It's just, I really care about this and I'm pouring all my chips into this one project. There's a chance it will be successful, but there's 100% chance of success if your idea of success is that somebody will love it. I don't have much control over the attention that it gets, but I have control over the quality of the game. Having the small community that I have, that, you know, they translated the fake language in the game, and that's just so rewarding to see. I may or may not make money on it, but it's just great being the god of some world. You know, if you're more the intellectual or creative type, it's just where you can put your mind to the greatest use, I think. Especially as a solo developer. You know, I was lucky enough where all my hobbies growing up just happened to be every piece of making a game. You know, the last piece that came was probably making artwork. I mean, programming was a pretty tough thing to learn, but putting it all together and just seeing it, you know, become some like greater than the sum of the parts, it's amazing. That's what keeps me going.
The reality is that you don't have unlimited talent and you don't have unlimited time. You're never going to be able to acquire every skill that goes into game development, and you're never going to have enough time to implement every skill that goes into game development. So it really is a matter of choosing to work within your limitations and seeing what you can create within those boundaries. And to an extent, it's a matter of relying on those around you who do have those skills that maybe you might be lacking. My name is Jacob Van Bendegan, and I am working on System Purge, Hollow Point. I've been working on it for about 3 years, and I have been getting paid nothing. The current state of the game industry, I'd call it very transitional. You have a lot of new talent coming in, a lot of new technology, and the result of that is that the market's become very oversaturated. I mean, System Purge is a platformer, which is everyone can make and is making a platformer, so trying to stick out from that crowd is very difficult. What we've been trying to do is just make it high quality enough to stand out, but that obviously comes with its own challenges of how do you make a game of that high quality with no budget whatsoever. So it's a lot of trying to be flexible, trying to find easy solutions for hard problems, and just do whatever you can. Every decision that you make, every choice you make about the game is all falling on you personally in most cases. You have to know what you like, know what you would like to see in a game, and implement that as best as you can, and try not to listen to the voices in your head that are telling you you're making the wrong. It really is just because of passion. If I was making $1 million on game development, I would be doing the same thing as I am now. It's what I love to do. Being able to create an entire world and explore it and interact with it, there really is no feeling like it as a creative. And there's definitely a little ego to it. I mean, any creative, I think that's the case. You know, sometimes you just come up with an idea and you just can't stop thinking about it until you've done it. And a lot of the times that's just how it is with game dev. You come up with a game that you want to create, and nothing's going to stop you until you make it. For me personally, it's a kind of freedom. It's being able to, you know, create what I want, create the rules that I want, create the experience that I'd like to share with other people. It is freeing. It's an escape. When it gets into people's hands, if they feel the things that I was hoping they would feel while playing it, feels wonderful. If they call it garbage and don't enjoy it at all, then it kind of sucks. Because as a developer, as a creative, you're wanting to create a positive, enjoyable, fun experience for others. So when it works out and everything comes together properly, it feels wonderful. And if it doesn't, you kind of feel like you wasted your time. Everyone deals with that kind of failure in a different way. I tend to just say, all right, I'll take this knowledge, I'll take this feedback, I'll think about it, I'll see if it can work into my next project. And, we call it a learning experience. That's all you can do is just keep moving forward. Don't get into it if you're not passionate about it. If you're here for money or fame or fortune, you will be disappointed. Do it because you love it. That's all there is to it.
Man, I'm so glad I went in there. It was so cool to hear everyone just talking and sharing ideas and being so excited about the 1.5 million things it takes to make an indie game. And it's always just really neat to see people who are so competent at something just do their thing. And it was really nice to hear that I haven't been going completely crazy this entire time. It's just that, like, this is the sort of unromantic, wageless, everyday reality of doing indie stuff. But it's got me all kind of fired up now, honestly. So with that, it's time to head home and get back to work.
Check.
All right, welcome to the super awesome professional voiceover booth. I've got my lines up here because I'm going to be playing the role of Demon Grandma. My wife did some of the voice acting, and then there's another voice artist, Carrie, who handled some of the other lines, and we need a big, deep monster voice, and I guess that's me.
We're waiting for you. Why won't you look at me?
This is so ridiculous. Oh my god.
Wait. No!
Right. I think that's a wrap on all that, and I figure with the power of the DAW, we should be able to turn all that into something pretty serviceable and hopefully absolutely horrifying.
Sweetie. Clean up after yourself. Look at me. Where are you?
With the dialogue and the sound effects out of the way, the next big task was music. The first request we got from John was actually not scary music at all. It was making music for a Weather Channel lookalike that you see in the game. With the limited amount of time we had on the game, I mostly relied on plugins to get a lot of the sounds, but thankfully there's a lot of ways to emulate cheesy Weather Channel music. With the Weather Channel, though, came a much more interesting counterpart, the Evil Weather Channel. These were basically altered versions of Weather Channel music that we had written, but a lot more evil. With most of the evil freshly poured from my dark, rotten heart, it was now time for me to naturally write some romantic Italian folk music. John has a very particular memory of his grandpa, who is a musician, and wanted to include a little nod to this as part of one of the puzzles for the game. The last remaining stop on the tour of music, of course, though, is good old spooky sounds. I didn't really get to use much hardware when making the Weather Channel tracks, and I thought this would be a great time to pull out my homemade Nightmare box. It's made up of spare parts from a hardware store and a box I bought at a craft store, and this thing sounds like absolute nightmare fuel. Layering a couple takes from that together and processing them, it turned out pretty well, I think. With the music done, I sent it off in a very last-second email and packed up some underwear to hit the road. I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. We're about 2 weeks out from release, and today I'm actually on the drive up to Ohio to meet up with the guys, which will actually be the first time we've met in person while working on this project, which should be fun. I'm looking forward to it, but there's still a pretty good amount of work to be done. text John. Pulling into the neighborhood now. I should be there in a couple minutes.
Welcome to the Piano of Grandparents, which is pretty much the direct inspiration for what's in the game. A couple of pictures of note. That's my grandpa, who obviously played guitar as a musician for pretty much his whole adult life. That's him when he was a little tiny baby. And I think it was in America. His parents were from Italy. His father died when he was very young, but his mother lived till almost 100. I never met her, but yeah, that's my grandma. That's my grandma Lucy back there. This is my brother-in-law's family, but these are my grandparents. And then that's them as young and in love. That's my other set of grandparents, Grandma Jane, Grandpa Guy. I never met him. He passed away when I was like non-existent. My dad was about 12 and he died. But yeah, this is where it all comes from. I'm happy we have all this stuff. It's pretty cool. So approximately a year ago, I think it was July of 2024, my mom flew out to Seattle. We climbed into my Mitsubishi Eclipse. We loaded it with everything I wanted to keep from my life, and we drove it from Seattle to Columbus. Don't look at Grandma. I mean, in the first time in my entire professional career, the first time I've ever been near family while working on a game. So to that fact alone, it has been a family affair designing this thing. About once a month, my parents would drop me and my sister, or sometimes, it seems actually more often it was just me, over at Grandma and Grandpa's house, which as a kid, between my cousins and I, we all were kind of convinced it was haunted. Just a lot of the crucifix at the top of the stairs. Everyone remembers that. There was this kind of a spooky vibe to the whole thing. And, being up late at night and hearing noises like sinks turning on, stuff like that. My cousin said that at one point she felt somebody sit down next to her on the couch while she was sleeping. I want to make it very clear, my grandma was not a demon. Neither of my grandmas were demons. They were both very lovely, extremely hardworking women, cared about their families above all else. Every time I was over there, she was always cooking something, always getting dinner ready, but very loving and non-demonic. They were both very religious. They were, avid churchgoers on either side, both my Grandma Jane and my Grandma Lucy. And, I think they kind of they very much represented the age they came from. And huge inspirations in terms of just my work ethic and things like that. They never stopped. Approximately 2 months into development, I was living in this very generic gray box thing that I had set up. And I was starting to try and figure out what was Grandma's house actually going to be. It didn't necessarily start that I was going to use my grandma's house. But as I started kind of playing around in Blender, I was like, what if we just tried Grandma's house out? And I started from memory, purely from memory. I laid out the first floor, just kind of roughly you come in the entryway, you got the living room that turns into a dining room, kitchen's behind that, goes out into the garage. It was fun kind of living in that memory for a while, going through all the old family photos. I called my mom up just to see what she could find from her collection of photos. So I was able to take that back and put it into my little binder that I kept over the course of development. My grandparents had a very eclectic sense of style, we'll say, generously. You had lamps that felt like they came from one universe next to, furniture with upholstery that feels like it came from somewhere completely different decades. People relate to it. I feel like at GDEX when we were demoing it, a lot of people would come up and say, oh my God, my grandparents had the most random stuff in their house, and you nailed it. My grandma was very concerned. She was overprotective, classic overprotective grandma. She always wanted to make sure you had an undershirt on, or your hair wasn't wet when you left the house. These things I remember very clearly. So the idea of her kind of always lurking around, looking out for you and making sure you're doing the right thing. I think that maybe subconsciously kind of crept into the design of the game. This idea that she's there, but you don't know where she is, and ideally you don't want to find her, even though you're trying to help. You're absolutely just trying to help. That I feel like definitely came through. If my grandma saw what this game is, I think the first thing she would be is confused as to what it actually was. My grandparents knew what video games were when I was growing up because, for Christmas I would get games or they'd get me games. But they never could quite grasp what a game was. My other grandma would call them movies, movie tapes. To see a representation of the house, I think they would have thought was pretty neat, or Grandma Lucy would have thought was pretty neat. It's very clean. That's, I think she'd be very, very proud of that, aside from the little disaster in the kitchen, which is very much not what Grandma would ever tolerate. So my hope is that when the game is over, in terms of a moral or a takeaway, is that there's an idea of the love that holds families together which is subverted to some extent by a demonic grandma. But the idea that the spirit of grandpa is there and it is guiding you in certain parts and kind of pointing you in the right direction to basically try to finish what he started to protect his family. We don't get overly, there's no dramatic cutscenes or dialogue or anything that ever speaks to that. But my hope is that is a resonant part of the emotional arc and takeaway that, there was something about the love that the grandparents had that persisted past death and was able to help out when, desperate times happen. So when I was designing kind of the flow across the game, I realized that if all it was you start in the basement, you go find an item and you bring it back, that was going to get old pretty quickly. So I needed to come up with a couple of ways of spicing up what you did kind of in between. Not necessarily puzzles, but sorta, in the loosest sense possible. And one very specific thing, and my sister actually has this, which is awesome. My grandpa was a musician. He, played for many, many years, and luckily we still have some amount of recordings of things he did. But I'll always remember, and this isn't that tape, but he called into a radio show to request a song for my grandma. It happened about, 2 or 3 months before he died. And so that idea of his presence on the radio stuck with me. And then the game already had radios in it because, what grandparents' house wouldn't have a bunch of radios sitting around. So I had this idea, starting in the garage where Grandpa's car was. And this is not the exact, Lincoln Mercury, whatever he had, but it's pretty close, or Grand Marquis rather. And it is, it's legally distinct, we'll say. And so I wanted to very much capture that car. And when you get to it, you can't get into it. So I need a way to give player a key without, giving them the key immediately. So we have these radios. And the idea that Grandpa's music would somehow kind of come to life over the radio and then persist across the house as a way of gently guiding you to the room where the key is natural. It just naturally kind of came out of the inspiration and the development process. But yeah, this was definitely...
Well, we've arrived back at John's place here, but before we get to work, there's one very important thing the other guys need to go do first. Well, good morning. Up for a pretty early start today. I'm still a little hungover, but we're just gonna power through it for the greater good, I guess. We've got a lot to do today to button up some stuff in the game. We have some audio things to touch up because our friend John, or I guess as we'll call him for clarity, John 2, has volunteered bravely to be our guinea pig to test out the build. So tonight everything comes together, But right now I'm getting ready to head up to John's place here. I was told that there's coffee and food, which sounds so good right now. You have no idea.
Yeah, right.
It's not. I let you down.
Ooh, that is fresh out of the oven.
Do I do anything other than constantly as a menu? No.
Give me that flavor.
Yeah. Did you know that they petitioned to rename Columbus Flavor?
If I wasn't doing this,
No,
I
they
don't
really
know
did.
what else I would do.
Yeah.
What's his name? I might become a bartender. I think that'd be fun. But I don't want to be a web designer. I don't want to be any kind of business person. That's not my thing. I just want to make stuff. The current state of the games industry right now is a hot mess. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it other than that you've got giant companies making giant games, or you have a lot of people like me on the indie side making either passion projects or small little games, whatever they are, that have very little chance of ever finding success. But ever since making the indie switch, it's been so fulfilling, infinitely more fulfilling than a lot of the stuff I did on the bigger games. I'm happy I worked on Red Dead. Working on Red Dead was not fun. Some of my favorite games growing up, Resident Evil and Silent Hill. OG Resident Evil, 96, Silent Hill, 99. Those two games hit at perfect moments of being able to fully capture my imagination, but then also be viscerally scary. They're kind of comical now looking back on them, but in the moment, man, those things really left an impression. This game will be out in about, let's say, 7 to 10 days. Hopefully everything goes great. And to that point, the final week or so of production, at least in my experience, has been It's like landing a plane and building the runway at the same time. That always is how it works out for me. Because again, I know it's like I've seen this happen enough times where I kind of have a feeling for how it's going to go. At least in terms of where I think the game is and where I wanted it to be. It's there. However, provided this is even remotely successful, I got 2 other ideas that I feel like nest really nicely with Grandma that I would like to make into kind of an anthology or like a 3-pack, a spooky game night pack. If I could work on this for another year, I probably would. I don't think I necessarily want to, but there is enough stuff that has been either cut from the game or doesn't quite match what the original vision was. Yeah, the demo will speak for itself, and if people want more of that, then congratulations. More is right around the corner. With the remaining time we have left, we want to do a playtest later tonight to, at least for my purposes, catch any obvious remaining bugs, because it's going to be impossible to catch all of them, but at least just get a sense for somebody who has never played the game before, to go through it, and I will try and bite my tongue as much as I possibly can while they try to figure things out, to see what is obvious, see what is less obvious, and then see what is like fundamentally broken. I'm just here for the jump scares, and watching a new player who's never touched it before suddenly run into her or notice her in the room suddenly and just like freak out. What we do it
Then if we
for?
bring the dry vocal back in with it, I think this adds a really nice like spooky presence.
This is being spooky.
Completely default, completely by accident that I figured that out. What does it sound like if you were listening to a song through like someone else's memory? Because I think that's kind of what the game is.
Yeah.
Right,
Sure.
is it's like, the idea of like you're reliving grandma's house. John and I sat down for a couple hours going through the rest of the audio of the game and putting on those last little bits of polish to make sure everything hit at just the right moment, and went back through trying to make sure we were hitting all the right marks, because there are a lot of different moods in this game that need to be fun but also still need to hit and be scary. With only a couple hours left until the big playtest, this was the final push to make sure that we could absolutely scare the bejesus out of poor John too. Audio-wise, I'm pretty happy with everything. Sound effects feel good, voices feel good, music's feeling good. I think we've hit all the right marks, and I'm excited but anxious for people to finally experience it. I think there's a really hard balance that had to be struck here, and I'm pretty sure we've pulled it off, but there's really only one way to find out.
John, you can sit in the driver's seat.
I've never been in the driver's seat.
Don't fuck it up, John.
I'm gonna fuck it up because I'm scared of Grandma.
You're good. Nothing bad can happen.
You're watching the look on the 8s.
Oh, I recognize that.
She loves that jazz.
Who said you couldn't play soft jazz on an 8-string Tosin Abasi signature guitar? You can do anything.
There's another candle like right on the table.
I bet there is. Oh.
Well, just so
you got to take it back to the basement.
Okay.
like we were chatting about it.
Grandma, no.
Like,
Why is it focusing on Grandma?
You can close your eyes with the left trigger.
Turn around, sweetie.
No.
Grandma has something to show you.
Nope.
I appreciate that your strategy is look at the floor.
Well, I did not look at Grandma. So.
It bit him once.
Yeah, it did.
You can bite him again.
Yeah, it probably will. The local on the 8s. Puppy. Why am I teleported to the fuck?
I gotta say, your reaction time is phenomenal.
Thank you. It's all I got.
He's a pro gamer. He works at PlayStation.
Fuck me, dude. Bitch, go away.
To the piano. Oh.
Oh, choosing the TV.
Oh.
That's your favorite.
All right, you got them all.
I'm going upstairs.
Yeah, go to the piano. Go to the piano first.
Oh, piano first?
It's crazy that I close my eyes when I close the game's eyes too.
Buddy, you just let it rip.
Oh, she's got a Discord message.
Grandma just messaged you on Discord.
Grandma, no.
Look up.
Grandma, leave me alone. I'm doing my anxiety breathing, which is not.
Do not be scared!
You fucking bitch! Okay, move in.
You gotta go in the tiny door.
Great. Hello? Okay.
That's good, scary.
I love crawl spaces. Those are my fucking favorite. Yeah, you wish. Yeah, you fucking wish.
Oh, does my Doom track play now?
That's time for a Doom boss fight.
Oh!
Hell yeah!
Grandma, no! The plaid, the blanket?
Sweetie, are you in there? Oh, Grandma just had a very odd.
This is so nice, Cameron. Good touch.
Lord knows.
Don't fuck it up, John.
What do you don't fuck it up? I'm scared.
Ring the bell. Go back to hell.
It's safer there.
I'll listen to Grandma just this once.
All right.
It's happening!
Oh!
You finally get to hear it, not on my phone.
The guitar riff is so good.
I will tell you, I'm a high critic of myself when I do something that slaps. And I'm
But
like,
this.
I did it. This fucking rules.
This is good.
Alicia!
Get a good look on his face.
I don't play horror games.
Hey, you did great, man.
Jesus Christ.
Well, about an hour to go here on the way home, and I'm feeling really, really good. The playtest went great. John, too, had a good time. The demo's in rock solid shape. The game itself is like 95% of the way there, other than some little nitpicky things. And it feels really cool to know that it's a real thing now. And, you know, not to toot my own boot or anything, but I kind of think we nailed it. And that feels really, really good. So I guess all that remains is just to get home here and get the rest of it buttoned up.
I'm home. Hi, buddy.
Did you miss me?
Yeah. Miss you too.
I think what I've taken away from all this is not only how cool it is to see a community of people doing this stuff, but finding a community of people who are so deeply feeling and passionate about their ideas and willing to see it all the way through with no guarantee whatsoever that there's even a point to doing any of it. And I guess that stands for any creative field, you know, music, games, art, writing, photography, whatever. But to get involved in something like this was a really cool experience because every idea is open as long as it fits the game, and it can all be done just as fast as you can implement it. And I feel like that's the way it should be. And I guess that's why this is a space I could see myself working in a lot more in the future, because all options are open and creativity is kind of the whole point. And for whatever reason, bigger game studios just don't seem to have that level of drive anymore. And maybe the biggest takeaway from all of it is just that no matter what it is you're doing, the only thing it ultimately costs you is your time. And, you know, if you're going to put your time into anything, why would you not do it for something like this? You know, something that you just really care about and want to see in the world. Well, it's been a very long road, but now we're nearing the end. The game is coming out in, I guess, under 48 hours now, and we're so excited for everyone to play it and just see what people think and all that. And hopefully it all goes well. But between now and then, I need to finish mastering the soundtrack, get that set up for release. We got to play test, got to submit the build of the game, and then also I have to finish editing this whole video so that you, my dear viewer can watch it and hopefully enjoy that too. I have absolutely no idea how all that is going to get done between now and then, but that's the job, I guess. So, yeah, here goes nothing.
Did you know that they petitioned to rename Columbus Flavortown?
I wish.
No, they really did.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it? What's his name?
I don't know who it was.
Guy Fieri. It seems like a
Guy
Fieri.
Fieri, of course, backed it. Like he was like, "This is definitely a good idea."
Flavortown.
Yeah.
As I was making the game, obviously a lot of the details came from my grandma's house, but I wanted to point out one key: the doors. You may, if you get close, you may recognize these beautiful doors. Penny. Oh Jesus, Penny. We love you.
I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Where are we at on Don't Look at Grandma 2?
We are. It's in the pipe. It's in the pipeline. It's coming soon.